Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
that you can read any textbook. You can read any textbook. Even you can also follow intermediate notes also.
How, sir? Intermediate notes.
Yes, you can also, because the basics cannot be changed. This is only principles of economics and the basics of economics only. The fundamentals cannot change.
సార్ ఇంటర్లో ఉన్న ఈఎంయూ ఇంటర్లో ఉన్న డిఎంయూ రాయచ్చా సార్?
So in the intermediate, some topics may be there, may not be there. If at all you
యా
are
సార్,
able to get
ఈఎంయూ
the notes,
డిఎంయూ
you can
ఉంది సార్.
prepare from that also.
డిమినిషింగ్ మార్జినల్ యూటిలిటీ.
But thing is, those there are some students who are unable to get the textbooks. If at all they are having that intermediate, they can prepare. Not to all the students.
You
We will
must
get
have
full
plus.
marks, sir.
Pardon?
We will get marks, sir, if we write intermediate answers.
Yeah, they will write. They won't see where from you got it. They will see only whether the answer is correct or not. Suppose if the definition of law of demand, it is there in the intermediate textbook and here also. The law cannot change, isn't it? The basics and fundamentals are not changing.
Consumer surplus చెప్పండి.
Uh, it doesn't mean that you refer to only intermediate. You can depend upon the textbooks which are prescribed for the degree, but there are some students who are unable to get it. So those students, if at all have intermediate notes, they can depend. That is the suggestion, alternative suggestion to them. And also I gave the notes also to you. As I stated, it is a core content of the answer.
Sir, explain isoquants and its characters.
Huh?
Isoquant.
Mention?
Sir, what is isoquant and explain its characters?
Isoquant.
Yes, sir.
Okay. These isoquant curves will come in the production analysis. This is a method of explaining the production with the two variables or two factors of production. One is the labor, another one is the capital. With the help of these two factors of production, a firm is assumed to produce the product. And in this technique, we can understand the different combinations of the labor and the capital. That
Properties
is
and characteristics are same for isoquants.
two factors of production.
properties and characteristics are same for isocans or different, sir?
Yeah, the properties are also there. Properties, I will explain the properties also. But the concept of this isocant is that a firm can able to produce a given amount of output with the different combinations of the two factors, that is the labor and the capital. Two factors only assumed here. So with the help of the labor and the capital, you can produce some amount of output. The combination of the factors may change. For example, capital may decrease and the labor may increase. This is happening because that budget is the same. The amount of the budget for the production by the firm is the same. The budget is not changing. Budget, given the amount of the budget and given the prices of the factors of production, either you can employ more labor or you can employ more capital. So with a given amount of this budget and a given price of the factors of production, you are able to employ different units of the labor and the different units of the capital. So what is happening with the same amount of the budget, either you can increase the labor or you can increase the capital. If the one is increased, another one should decrease. Okay. So this will give you different combinations of these two factors. Okay, labor and capital. And these different combinations of the labor and the capital will give the same amount of output also. The same amount of, these are all assumptions. Okay, assumptions. Assumption is that the different factors of the production are able to give the same amount of output. Same amount of output. Output is constant here. Okay. So in this case, what we will do, on x-axis we will take the labor, on y-axis we will take the capital. And you can also prepare what is called as a isocant schedule. In that, you can take different units of the labor and different units of the capital. Combination of the labor plus capital will give some amount of output. Numerically, you can mention 100 or 200. The second combination, the same amount of output. Third combination, fourth combination, fifth combination, like that. In the schedule, you can mention different combinations of the factors. So all these combinations of the factors will give the same amount of output. That you can prepare that isoquant schedule. With the help of that, you can draw the diagram. On the graph, if you locate the points indicating each combination in the schedule, you will be getting different points on the graph. And if you connect all these different points, you will get a curve. That is isocant curve. This isocant curve, if you look at, it is a sloping down from left to right. So this is one property of the isocant curve. Isocant curve will slope down from left to right. That is indicating inverse relationship between the labor and the capital. Inverse relation between the labor and the capital. That's why isocant curve slopes down from left to right. You can also see in that the capital is being decreased and the labor is being increased. Is increased. Okay, one is decreasing, another one is increasing. So that is the negative relation or inverse relation. And that's why isocant curve will slope down from left to right. This is the first one. The second characteristic is this isocant curve is a convex downwards. Is a convex or convex shape to the point of origin. It is affixed to the point of origin or to x-axis because that the marginal rate of technical substitution, you have written in the last column of the schedule, MRTS, that the ratio of the change in the capital to the change in the labor. That marginal rate of technical substitution, that MRTS, the column shows it is a decreasing. Marginal rate of technical substitution decreasing like 1:5, 1:4, 1:3, 1:2, like that. It is a decreasing in that the last column of the schedule. So it is a convex downwards because the marginal rate of technical substitution is decreasing. If it is a marginal rate of technical substitution constant, you can get a linear curve, a straight line downwards. If it is increasing, you can get a concave downwards. So that shape of that curve will depend upon that MRTS. In this case, MRTS is decreasing, that's why it's a convex downwards. So this is the second property. And the third property, you can say that a isoquant curve which is away from the point of origin, if it is away from the point of origin, if it is having more distant from the x-axis or y-axis, that will show higher amount of output. So to say that higher isoquant curves means the curve which is away from the x and y axis, or it is away from the point of origin. So if it is away from the point of origin, it will show more amount of output. If it is near to the point of origin, it will show the less amount of output. Because that higher levels of isoquant curves will show higher amount of the labor and higher amount of the capital. The quantities of the labor and the capital will be more if it is away. That's why it will give more amount of output. An isoquant curve which is near to the point of origin will show you less quantity of labor and less quantity of the capital. That's why less amount of output. So this is another characteristic. Then one more also you can state that the two isoquant curves cannot touch with each other or cannot intersect with each other. If you draw what is called isoquant map, in isoquant map you can get more than one isoquant curve. If it is only one, you call as isoquant curve. If there are more than one, IQ1, isoquant curve 1, isoquant curve 2, isoquant curve 3, if you draw more than one curve, then that diagram is called isoquant map, MAP, isoquant map. In this case, there should be a gap between the two isoquant curves. They cannot touch with each other or they cannot intersect with each other. So that is another characteristic of isoquant curve. Okay, all these are to be explained with the help of the graphs. Each property is being explained by one or two.
Sir, property and characteristics are the same.
Property of
Properties and characteristics of isoquants are the same.
same.
Okay.
The characteristics of the properties of isoquant curves are same. Same. So these four characteristics are four properties you can write down. And you have to explain with the help of the diagrams also. Right? For the first one, second, third, and fourth, for
Okay,
all
sir.
these four, sometimes each one may require two diagrams or one diagram. Okay? Right. And these curves are similar to indifference curves. In case of the consumption analysis, utility analysis, that is a cardinal utility analysis, ordinal utility analysis, two methods are there in consumption. In ordinal utility analysis, we can come across about indifference curves. So this isoquant curve is similar to that indifference curve. Just the properties are also looks like same, but here it is a production, there it is a consumption. Okay.
Consumer surplus.
Yeah. The consumer surplus is a imaginary concept, it is a hypothetical concept. Alfred Marshall had explained this. It is a type of experience to the consumer. It is a type of experience to the consumer. Say, suppose if you discuss in normal way, in general way, without this reference to economics, a consumer can buy the goods in the market and he is paying the price for it and is purchasing the commodity. Sometimes he will feel paying more price than the commodity which gives him satisfaction, called as a utility. That he can feel. If he is paying more price than the utility of that commodity or service, he is feeling pinched there. So price is paying more, but utility is a less. Sometimes he will feel indifference, means normal. He pay the price thinking that is equal to the utility of the product or use of the product. And there may not be loss or there may not be gain to a consumer then. There is another situation where consumer will feel paying less price than the use of the commodity or utility of the commodity. This is a third type of experience. In the third type of experience, he is paying the less price and is getting a commodity which is giving more utility. So there he gets some extra satisfaction. That extra satisfaction or extra utility or additional utility is called as consumer surplus. Consumer surplus. Okay. Here you can also compare that the price he is paying to a commodity.
So can you please tell once again, sir, consumer surplus?
Once again?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just I'm telling you, this consumer surplus is a type of experience to the consumer, right? If you go to a market and if you pay the price to a product, if we pay a price to a product, then we may feel that the price which you are paying is a less than the use of the commodity to us or utility of the commodity to us. If we are thinking the utility of that product is more than what the price we are paying, in such a situation we get extra satisfaction than what we pay. That extra satisfaction is called as a consumer surplus. That extra satisfaction. Okay, this is a general discussion. But in the form of the equation also, when you come to this economic explanation, that a simple equation is there, that the consumer surplus is equal to the price which a consumer is willing to pay, minus price actually paid, So let us see here, the price willing to pay for a product, say matchbox, example, to a matchbox, the price which you are willing to pay for a matchbox, assume that you are ready to pay 10 rupees. You're ready to pay 10 rupees because the use of the matchbox is so much. And in your view, its use and utility is at 10 rupees. Okay? That you are ready to pay even 10 rupees for that matchbox because it is giving you that amount of satisfaction, that amount of utility. Okay? But in the market, the price of the matchbox is less, say at 2 rupees. Okay, you are ready to pay 10 rupees, you are willing to pay 10 rupees, but price actually you have to pay in the market is at 2 rupees. So 10 rupees minus 2 rupees, 8 rupees. That 8 rupees is called as a consumer surplus. The price willing to pay is at 10 rupees minus price actually paid is at 2 rupees. The difference is called as 8 rupees. That difference 8 rupees is called consumer surplus. Here, the price willing to pay will depend upon the utility of that product. Okay. If you are assuming that utility is more, you are ready to pay higher price. If you are feeling utility is less or use is less, you are ready to pay only less price. So that amount of price you are willing to pay will depend upon that utility which you get from the commodity minus the price actually paid. The price for the product in the market is decided by the demand and supply, not our psychological feelings, but depending upon the demand for the product and supply of the product. Okay, so that price for a product may be less, and the price for the product is less in the market, and price you are willing to pay is more. So the difference is called consumer surplus. It is only a thinking process, psychological process, that's all. But actually, we do not get any surplus from anywhere. There is no monetary gain or monetary benefit. It is only psychological feeling in the consumer that he is getting more satisfaction, extra satisfaction than what the price is paid. It's called consumer surplus. So consumer surplus is equal the price willing to pay minus price actually paid. You can also draw the diagram for that. The price for the product is a horizontal line. Any number of units can be purchased. So on the x-axis, you can take the quantity. On y-axis, you can take the price and utility. And the price line will be a horizontal line, whereas the utility curve is sloping down from y-axis to x-axis. Where this horizontal line is intersecting that what is called as the marginal utility curve. That point is called as the equilibrium point. The price is equal to the marginal utility. That point is equilibrium. And above this horizontal line, whatever the space is there, that you call it as a consumer surplus. So the graphs are there with you, already given to you and explained to you also. So you can refer to that notebook. And that diagram you have to draw. The curves are two curves, marginal utility curve and the price line, the gap, the triangle area above the horizontal line. The triangle area is representing the consumer surplus. And you can mention some examples for this consumer surplus. It may be matchbox, or you can take a newspaper, or you can take the salt. So these are some generalized examples where a consumer is getting the consumer surplus. Okay.
Sir, the graphs you have given are different from those in the textbook. The graphs you have given are different from those in the textbook, sir. In textbook, the graphs are difficult.
Yeah, in the notes also gave to you the diagram, and it is also there in the textbook also. The diagram you have to draw.
So the textbook graphs, can we leave those graphs? We need not learn those graphs, right? The graphs from the textbook, we need not learn those, right?
Is it there in the textbook?
Sir, I'm talking about all graphs.
If you are able to see this, just you can see this consumer surplus diagram. The triangle shape of a horizontal line is representing consumer surplus.
Okay.
The horizontal line is a price line. And the DD is nothing but only marginal utility curve.
Sir, I'm talking about all the graphs in all the chapters.
This diagram you can see, it is there in the textbook. It is also there in the notes also. You have to refer to the textbook or notebook.
Assumption.
Okay.
Sir, equimarginal principle.
Equimarginal.
Principle.
కన్జ్యూమర్ సర్ప్లస్ అసంప్షన్ చెప్పరా?
Equimarginal principle.
కన్జ్యూమర్ సర్ప్లస్ వి అసంప్షన్ చెప్పరా?
For consumer surplus, you are asking about assumption.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For
Sir,
the consumer surplus,
equimarginal principle.
you are asking about consumer surplus and assumptions. No. For this,
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
yeah. For this assumption is the utility is measured in cardinal number. Right. Second assumption is that the marginal utility of a product will diminish. Marginal utility of a product will diminish if the quantity of the commodity increases, its marginal utility will decrease. First one is marginal utility is measurable in cardinal number. Second one is marginal utility is decreasing if the quantity increases. Third one is a consumer is a rational person. A rational person, right? So, like that, you can write the assumptions of this consumer surplus. And it is being explained by Alfred Marshall. You can also write that Alfred Marshall's definition. The Alfred Marshall definition is like this: the excess of price which he would be willing to pay, then go without the thing over that which he actually does pay, is the economic measure of the surplus satisfaction. It may be called consumer surplus. So this is the definition which is there already with you. You have to by heart this definition, should write this for consumer surplus. And diagram, definition, and you can take one example also. The number of units of a commodity you are going to buy, and the price, you multiply it with the price, you will get the total price paid. And you can also calculate what is the total marginal utility of all the units together. Then the difference you can find as a consumer surplus. So that exercise is there in the textbook as well, in the notes also. You can read it and you can understand that again.
సార్ కన్జ్యూమర్ సర్ప్లస్ కి మనం కన్జ్యూమర్ సర్ప్లస్ ఇన్ మార్కెట్ డిమాండ్ ఇంకా అజంప్షన్స్ రాస్తే చాలా.
And that is enough. Consumer surplus is only for short question, not for essay question.
క్రిటిసిజం అవన్నీ వద్దా?
It is meant only for short question to the maximum of 1 page answer. Okay.
Sir, equimarginal principle.
Yeah, that equimarginal principle is a second law of Gaussian. You have taken that is a Gaussian's first law, Gaussian's second law, etc. And this is representing Gaussian's second law. Okay. This is a simple extension of the first law. That is a extension of law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility will explain the consumer behavior in relation to the consumption of only one commodity. Only one commodity. Whereas the law of equimarginal utility will explain the behavior of consumer in relation to the consumption of more than one commodity. More than one. Okay. More than one commodity, that is equimarginal principle. Both are explaining the consumer's equilibrium status. Consumer's equilibrium status regarding the consumption of one commodity and the consumption of more than one commodity. That what is a consumer's equilibrium? Consumer's equilibrium is a status where he obtains maximum amount of total utility. Maximum total utility, right? In case of equimarginal principle, what it says is, if you have a commodity like a money, anything, money or any commodity or anything, if you have anything which is having alternate uses, say in case of the money, you can buy with it a X, Y, Z commodities also. If you have a commodity, not the money, but other things, they may have some alternate uses also. Alternate uses. The same thing can be put to several uses. Use number 1, use number 2, use number 3. So if a commodity or a money is having alternate uses, the consumer should distribute it among those alternate uses, should distribute it among alternate uses in such a way that the margin utility derived from these should be equal. Should be equal. Okay. Suppose if there are 3 uses or 3 commodities which you want to buy. Use number 1 or commodity number 1. Use number 2 or commodity number 2, commodity number 3. Okay. So when you are buying the 3 commodities or putting the commodity for 3 alternatives, the margin utility you derive from the first one should be equal to the margin utility derived from the second one, and should be equal to margin utility derived from the third one also. So margin utility of X, margin utility of Y, margin utility of Z, these 3, if at all equal, then the consumer will get maximum satisfaction, maximum utility. So what he is following, a principle. A ardent consumer may not know it is a principle. It is a normal behavior of consumer that he will be purchasing the 3 commodities in such a way that the margin utilities of these 3 are equal. You will be getting the maximum utility. Okay. Here we assume that a consumer is a rational person. Second, that utility can be measured in cardinal numbers. Third, the margin utility of a commodity will diminish with its quantity, increase in quantity. And also, you know about the prices are given and known to the consumer. Prices are known to the consumer. Income of the consumer is also constant. Income is a constant. The prices are given. Margin utility is diminishing. Margin utility is measurable in cardinal number. Consumer will purchase more than one commodity. With all these assumptions, if he purchases these 3 commodities, or if he'll make use of commodity for 3 alternate uses, he will be getting the maximum total utility. And you can prepare for this the schedule, the utility schedule, taking that number of units, the quantity of X product, quantity of Y product, quantity of Z product, and margin utility of 3 commodities, margin utility of 3 commodities. Then you can also take the prices and divide this margin utility by the prices. Divide this margin, ordinary margin utility by the prices, you will get a weighted margin utility. Weighted margin utility, effective utility. That weighted margin utility should be equal. Not ordinary margin utilities, but weighted margin utilities must be equal. That is the margin utility of X product divided by price of X is equal to margin utility of Y divided by price of Y is equal to margin utility of Z divided by price of Z. So all these are coming in the schedule. I had prepared and I gave already to you. That schedule should be taken. And in that, you will see that where the weighted marginalities are equal. Okay, and you will be drawing a diagram. 3 diagrams are there. 3. One for the marginality of X, then second one is marginality of Y, third one is marginality of Z. Okay, you'll be drawing these 3 diagrams. And the weighted marginality, which will be horizontal line in this case, for 3 diagrams at the same level, you're getting horizontal lines. If all the 3 diagrams are drawn on the same plane, okay, and that horizontal line is intersecting the marginality curves in the 3 diagrams, then you will be getting what is called as the equilibrium, where that horizontal line is intersecting the marginality curve. And in that way, you draw the diagrams, state that the amount of the total utility is a maximum. Below you do all these exercises, the amount of income given with a numerical example, and the price of the 2 commodities or 3 commodities, and amount of the money spent on X commodity, Y commodity, and Z commodity. That amount is the quantity multiplied by price. So amounts spent on X, Y, Z, and the utility derived from X commodity plus utility derived from Y commodity, utility derived from Z commodity, all these 3 add, then we'll be getting that the total utility, and that total utility is to be the maximum one. Okay, so you write the definition for this. You write the assumptions, then you prepare the schedule, then you draw the diagrams, then you should also show that the full amount of income is spent at the same prices, given prices, and the total utility is the maximum. So with all those calculations you have to do below that diagram. Okay, you can refer to the notes better, and in the notes everything is given in detail. And you can also refer, if you want, to the textbook, and you can also elaborate the answer. Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
the next, what are other doubts? You try to give importance to all the 5 units. Don't omit any unit. If you neglect a unit, you are going to lose that 15 to 20 marks. Because the questions which come from that unit, you may not answer. Okay?
Sir,
So
you
read
have given
all the 5 units. Okay. Next one.
sir, discriminating monopoly.
Huh?
Discriminating monopoly.
Discriminating monopoly. Yeah. Okay, about the discriminating monopoly, you can see that under the types of monopoly, it may be private monopoly or a public monopoly, right? Or it may be a simple monopoly or a discriminating monopoly. In case of the simple monopoly, the price charged for the product by a monopolist is the same. The price charged for a product in all the markets is the same. But whereas in case of the discriminating monopoly, the monopolist will divide the market into 2 or 3 or 4 parts. He will divide them into different markets, sub-markets. and he will be charging different prices for the same product in different markets. He will charge different prices in different markets for the same product. So if he is charging different prices for the same product, it is called as a discriminating monopoly. Discriminating monopoly. He wants to get maximum profit by doing this act. Okay. The purpose is maximum profit. Okay. But what he has to do is he has to divide the market into 2 or 3 sub-markets, like market A and market B. Or you take an example, domestic market and a foreign market. You also know how to divide the market into sub-markets. I already gave that in the notes. It may be depending upon the region, like a domestic market or a foreign market, a regional market or national market, like that. You can divide the market on the basis of the income, like a market for of the poor people, market of the rich people. And you can divide the market basing upon the age also, like a market for the children and market for the adults, etc. Okay. And you can divide the market on the use base or a utility base. Whereas in case of the electricity or the power, use it in agriculture, use it in industry, use it in households. So that market can be divided on different bases. Either it may be income or a region, or it may be age, or it may be use, like that. He will divide into different sub-markets. And he will charge different prices for the same product in different markets. But here we assume some conditions also. Assumption. That assumption is that the elasticity of demand is different in different markets. Elasticity of demand should be different in different markets. In one market, less elasticity of demand. In other market, high elasticity of demand. In less elasticity of demand, the monopolist can increase the price to any extent. Demand cannot change much. In a high elasticity of demand, he cannot increase the price, but on the other hand, he will reduce the price little bit. He will reduce the price little bit, and he can get more demand. He can get more demand. So that the condition is different elasticities of demand. In one market, less elasticity, another market is a high elasticity of demand. Then you can see that the quantity of output of a monopolist, which is shown by the diagram, the firm diagram, that AR curve, MR curve. Okay. And MC curve also. You draw one. There you can get what is the quantity of output of a monopolist firm. And that quantity of output is distributed between these markets. If there are two, distribute between the two, A and B. Okay. A part of that output is sold in market A and the remaining part is sold in market B. That is possible. And the next thing is the level of the price also. In case of less elasticity of demand, you can charge a higher price. You can charge a higher price. So even the price is very high, the demand may not decline much. In less elastic demand market, the monopolist will charge a higher price. Whereas in high elasticity of demand market, he will charge less price, relatively less price compared to less price. less price shows that the demand for the product will be very high. Extension, the demand is very high. That low price is resulting in high demand. So you can draw these three diagrams. One is for a firm, second diagram is for a market A, third diagram is for market B. All the three diagrams are to be drawn on the same plane, same level. And you have seen that in the notes that MR curve of firm A, MR curve of market A, and MR curve of market B are different with different elasticities. So therefore, you have to combine these two MR curves in the firm's diagram. The MR curve of A apart and the MR curve of B, the second part. So if you look at that MR curve as a firm, which is a combination of MR curve of A, MR curve of B, that which is called as a CMR, combined marginal revenue, and that curve is a little bit unique for a firm, and that CMR is being intersected by MC curve, that you will get equilibrium where MC and M are equal, and from that point from that level you draw a horizontal line to two other diagrams representing the marginal cost, MC level, marginal cost for two other diagrams. In other two diagrams, this MC curve, which is a horizontal line, will intersect the MR curve in market A, intersect the MR curve in market B. Where this horizontal line is intersecting MR of A market, MR of B market, there will be equilibrium of the markets. And from that equilibrium point, if you draw a vertical and to x-axis, you'll be knowing the amount of output sold in market A, and similarly you can find the amount of output which can be sold in market B. So like that, three diagrams, and this discrimination, the classification of the market, different elasticities of demand, all this you have to explain in case of the discriminating monopoly. And this is also expected for a short question, not for an essay question. Okay. Okay, are you preparing or not? Only simply you are waiting for the time.
No, sir.
Okay, have you submitted your assignments already?
Yes, sir.
Okay, those who have not submitted, bring to that staff room and keep it on my table, in my cabin. I will collect there.
Sir,
Okay.
we meet for pre-finals, no, sir. Sorry.
Huh?
Internals, no, sir. Then we'll give you.
For internals, only 2 units, first unit and second unit only.
No, sir. We'll meet for internals, no, sir. Then we'll give you the assignments.
Huh?
For
Sir,
internals,
for
we'll meet,
writing
no, sir.
internals will come to college. Not that time we will submit that assignment.
Yeah, on internal day, I did not tell you on internal. If you are coming on an internal examination day, you can come and put on my table also, no problem.
Okay, on that day only we
Okay,
will
sir.
submit it, sir.
Yeah, that you can do. If you are unable to come to the college, you can bring it on that day. But those who,
Okay, sir.
there are some students who want to bring it to the college, they can bring and put it in my table also.
Okay, sir.
No one wants like that, sir.
If I'm available, I will collect personally. If not available, you put on my table, I will collect it. Or you bring it on the examination day and put it on my table also.
I will bring it on examination day, sir.
Okay. Okay.
So what is meant
Any
by
more?
deflation?
Deflation.
Deflation.
Deflation. This deflation is a phenomena opposite to inflation. It is a phenomena in a business cycle, economic phenomena in a business cycle, which is quite opposite to inflation. During this period of deflation, the entrepreneurs and business people will be having pessimistic tendencies. Psychologically, pessimism will be there among the minds of the entrepreneurs. That is a situation where entrepreneurs are feeling there will be a loss in any type of economic activity. The previous experiences are showing that any economic activity will result in the loss. That kind of pessimism will be there. Okay, so what is happening during that period? The prices of the products are falling down. Okay, the prices of the products are falling down, and income of the people also will decline. This is one. Next, that output, the total output also will decline because entrepreneurs do not like to produce more. They do not like to undertake new economic activities. So as a result, that the output will be declining, and employees will be retrenched. So unemployment will be increasing. Employment level will come down, unemployment will increase. So these are the characteristics in the decline, in the deflation period. Prices are falling, incomes are falling, unemployment is increasing, or employment level is decreasing. The profits also will decline. So these are the major economic characters prevailing during the deflation period. And this deflation will ultimately end in a depression. That is the lowest level of economic activity. It is called as a slump, or it is a trough. Okay. And during that period also, poverty will increase. And people suffering will be more during the depression period. So deflation is quite opposite to inflation in a business cycles. That is a below horizontal, that is a below that normal growth level, isn't it? Normal growth path and business cycle path. And this will be below that normal growth path. The deflation part is there below that normal growth path. Okay. Right. Then tomorrow also I will try to explain like this your doubts. Prepare well.
సార్
Yes.
ఎక్స్క్యూజ్ మరి గ్రాఫ్స్ ఇచ్చాను కదా సార్ కొన్ని, ఆ గ్రాఫ్స్ ఎగ్జామ్ లో రాస్తే సరిపోతుందా? టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ లో ఉన్న గ్రాఫ్స్ రిఫర్ చేయాలా?
Graphs, you are asking about the graph?
యా సార్, మీరు ఇచ్చినవే ఎగ్జామ్ లో రాయాలా, టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ లో రాసుకోవాలా?
నేను ఇచ్చిన నోట్స్ మాత్రమే నీకు ఇంపార్టెంట్.
మీరు కొన్ని గ్రాఫ్స్ కూడా చెప్పినారు కదా సార్, మీరు కొన్ని గ్రాఫ్స్ కూడా ఇచ్చినారు.
ఏమి ఇచ్చాను ఆప్షన్ మీకు?
గ్రాఫ్స్ కొన్ని టేబుల్స్ ఇచ్చినారు కదా సార్ మీరు. అసైన్మెంట్ కాదు సార్, ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ అప్పుడు కొన్ని గ్రాఫ్స్ ఇచ్చినారు కదా సార్ మీరు.
ఇచ్చాను, గ్రాఫ్స్ ఇచ్చాను.
అవి ఇంకా టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ డిఫరెంట్ ఉన్నాయి కదా సార్, అంటే మీరు ఇచ్చినవి టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ లో డిఫరెంట్ ఉన్నాయి. సో మేము మీరు ఇచ్చినవి
నేను ఇచ్చిన గ్రాఫ్స్ చూసుకోండి.
టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ ఏం అవసరం కదా సార్?
నేను ఇచ్చిన నోట్స్ చదువుకోండి. నువ్వు గ్రాఫ్ డిఫరెంట్ ఉన్నట్టయితే నేను ఇచ్చిన గ్రాఫ్ చూసుకోండి అంటున్నాను.
ఓకే సార్, ఎగ్జామ్ లో కూడా అదే రాయాలా?
అట్టే రాయాలి
ఎగ్జామ్ లో మీరు ఇచ్చినది. ఓకే సార్,
you can also put the difference in the WhatsApp group. I will also go through what is the difference there.
సరే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, see you in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.